All right, good morning again and welcome back. This is part 2 of our Milky Way tumbler. So if you missed part 1, just hop back onto my channel. You can see it and that will catch you up on where we are today with our cup here. So, all right, I have got my epoxy mixed and we're going to start mixing the mica powders and we are going to get this party started. Okay. So I have my epoxy mixed here. I'm going to set that right there. I'm going to show you my mica powders first, and then we'll go ahead and mix everything in. So sorry you get the view of my nasty sweatshirt, but as most of you know who are crafters, it's not a job for the fashion industry. So mind you. Okay, so one of the mica powders we're going to use is the pink champagne. And if you remember in part 1, this is also the one that we used for the base of the cup. So we're going to add some of this. We're also going to do a frosty pearl. I think it. Sorry guys, still early in the morning. And these are all from Woods Goodies. I'll link them below down for you. And then I actually was going to go with more of a gold color, but I have this really pretty purple. And since we had a touch of purple on the cup, we're going to add this in. Yeah, I'm not sure how to say that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to unscrew this. You're not going to add a lot. A little of this goes a long way. Okay. So a similar concept, if you watch like my beach tumbler tutorial and things like that, you're going to add a little bit of the epoxy into each cup and then you're going to mix the color in with that epoxy. And I don't measure in the sense of like, 5 millimeters of epoxy for this cup kind of thing. I eyeball it all. So as far as like how much I've used for this cup, I don't know, but I will show you in volume here. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side and I have just a little bit in each cup, just a little bit, and I have all about even amounts on there. When I add it to the cup, I'm not going to add as much of the purple. I'm literally just going to add touches of the purple in there. I want it primarily to be that pink champagne and the pearl with a touch of purple. So, okay, I'm going to get a little bit here on my popsicle stick. About that much. I'm going to dump that in. This is such a pretty color. This is also one of the colors I used for the Hocus Pocus cup that I did not long ago, a few weeks ago I think. You can also see that if you hop back onto my channel, you can see that too. Okay, so it's kind of like a pearly purple. It's really pretty. All right, so we got that. Same thing. Next color. Add about not much into the frosty pearl. And we're going to mix that in. And I did actually have a couple of you, asking on part 1 of this. I mentioned the plaid tumbler that I did. And I'm laughing at you guys because everyone wants to see the plaid tumbler. So you can actually see it if you log on to my website. I have it on there right now. And then I will do a tutorial. I can make that my next one. And I'll make sure I get that on for you. Okay, last color. So maybe in another week or 2 or so I'll get that up. Okay, this is our pink champagne. And this has like, I showed you in the first video, almost like little reflections of gold in it. It's such a pretty color. Got like a tinge of like a rose gold color and a soft pretty pink with like an iridescent gold. I don't even know how to describe it, you guys. It's just really pretty. You can I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but it's so pretty in person. All right, so I'm gonna put my lids on there because I know myself and I will knock it and my mica powder will go everywhere and you will see me cry on video. So to avoid that, we're going to move those and put the lids on it. Okay, I'm going to adjust my camera and I'll get it to where we can see the cup better. All right, there we go. So I had a couple little bumps here and there, so I just gave it a light sanding. And then, like I mentioned before, I did rub it down with, oh, brain fart, alcohol, rubbing alcohol, sorry. Like I said, it's still kind of early. So I rubbed it down with some rubbing alcohol. So you'll see a little bit of scratches on here right now. I'm going to put a thin layer of epoxy on before we start adding the micas, and that will take care of those. You won't be able to see them. Those will go away once you get the epoxy on. All right. So I'm going to add just a thin layer, just enough to allow my micas to flow a little bit better. I like doing it on a cup that has the epoxy on it. I just feel like it flows better. If not, I'm afraid they're gonna stick. I've actually never done it without putting the epoxy on because I'm afraid of it just not working, and then I mess up my whole cup and I have to do it over again, which I'm sure, as most of you know, is not your ideal situation. So again, this is a relatively thin layer. It's not very thick, just enough to get coverage over the whole cup. Okay. And you will notice, if you haven't worked with chunky glitter before, you will develop a love-hate relationship with it, probably like I have, because the epoxy does not seem to like the chunky glitter. And typically it'll create fish eyes and things like that. It's kind of a pain. It's one of those, I'm telling you, it's a love-hate relationship. You love the way it looks, but you just hate working with it. So, okay. All right, we got that layer on. Take my glove off. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the pink champagne. And I'm just going to take my popsicle stick. I'm going to get a little bit on there, and I'm going to drizzle in a diagonal line. Again, if you watch the beach tumbler tutorial that I did, it's kind of similar concept to that. No rhyme or reason. I'm just going to get some of that on there. You can use your popsicle stick, kind of scrape it down, up a little bit, move it around a little bit. Okay, so we got that on. I'm going to change colors, and I'm going to go to our white. Like I said before, this is actually my first Milky Way tumbler, and I'm kind of experimenting with all of you. So I have no idea, like you, I have no idea how this is going to come out. We are about to see. But these colors are going to start shifting and moving as we put more on the cup and as the cup turns. So I do primarily want it to be the white and pink with just that little touch of the purple. Okay, I'm gonna let that spin for just a second. Then we're gonna add some of our purple. All right, and I'm actually gonna look, and I'm gonna add purple in a few spots where I don't have the purple glitter. So I'm adding it on top of the gold, the rose gold, little spots in between where it's not on the actual purple glitter. Okay. I'm gonna let that spin for a minute. All right. So I'm actually gonna go back to my white. Like I said, my goal with this one is to try to get primarily white and pink as the main colors. Make sure you don't cover your whole cup though, because you want to see those peaks of glitter in between. Which if you've actually seen the Milky Way tumblers, pictures of them in person, anything like that, you'll see that there's just those little spots of glitter in between, which is what makes them so pretty. I'm just going to use my popsicle stick, and I'm kind of just blending some of those colors together. And then I'm going to hit it with the heat gun and kind of help move them around a little bit. Okay. They're slowly starting to move, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the heat gun just a little bit, enough to warm up the epoxy and get those colors moving. That's also going to pop, if you have any bubbles, that's also going to pop some of those bubbles. So now is the part where I contemplate, do I add more? Do I leave it? And this is where I guess your imagination has to come into play a little bit here. I'm going to add just a couple touches of the purple. All right. So same rule as before. Let this spin for a few hours. I'm going to pull up some of my epoxy here. You'll notice sometimes it'll start to kind of pull away from the rim. I'm still not sure exactly why it does it, but it always does it. So. A lot of times what I do is I kind of babysit my tumbler for the first few minutes and make sure that that epoxy is really getting up the top there. Okay. Alright, I think we're going to let this stay the way it is. Like I said, you don't want to add too much. You want to see that glitter through it. And then the moment of truth will be here soon. So after this spins, I'll unplug it and I'll let it sit probably the rest of the day. And then we will need to add one more final layer. If you're wanting to add vinyl, that's when we would add the vinyl. I don't know that I'm going to add vinyl. I think I might just leave this the way it is because it's already got quite a bit going on. And I don't want to overpower the cup. So I think for me, I'll just leave it blank. This one I may decide to actually put up on my website too. I don't know. I'm a very indecisive person at times, so you never know. You just never know. And then once you have the final layer of epoxy on, you're good to go. Alright, we'll let this spin and I'll show you the final product. Alright, wish me luck. Alright, so here is our final product. I love these. You get a little bit of a sparkle, not overwhelming. The colors blend really well and they're fun to do. So I love watching them sparkle in the sunlight. And right there where you can kind of really see that purple coming through. Looks pretty cool. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know a lot of you asked for the plaid, so the plaid will be coming up next, I promise. And if you haven't seen it already, make sure to join the group. I just started. It's Carly's Creations, Tumblers and more. I will definitely make sure to link it down below for you. And just want to create a group to kind of help each other out and show creations and just have some fun. So feel free to join and subscribe for more, and I'll see you during the plaid video. Bye.